Okay, now it's 1 p.m. So we start the Zoom meeting now. Thanks NTU team and teacher and student join this meeting. This is the NTU Cup National Secondary School Programming Contest preliminary round rules and regulation online briefing. So I pass the mic to Professor Huang, and he will let us know the rule and regulation. Thanks.
Okay, then I will start. Okay, yeah, thanks, Mr. Yo. Okay, so hello everyone. Yeah, and thanks for the AANTUM President, Mr. Zhu, and the Chairman of NSSPC, Mr. Yo, for having us to host this, have the opportunity to host the NTU Cup 2026 competition here. So today I'm basically here for a contest rule briefing with you. So basically here is some plan. Um, Basically I will walk through the rules one by one first, and then I will invite one of technical team member, Mr. Song, for sharing us with some instructions on installing the VPN and the usage for accessing the contest website. So later on, you will see. So I guess you should already have received the instruction on how to install the VPN software such that you can connect to the competition system during the contest. So if basically, if you have any more questions, feel free to type into the chat. And after our briefing, if there are still some time left, we can answer these questions for you. Okay. So yes, so welcome. This is like the preliminary contest hosted by NTU here. Okay. So the most important thing is we ask our each team's instructor to be responsible for verifying the students' identities and ensuring the adherence to the competition rules. Okay. So basically all the teams must log into the contest platform via the VPN. And there are some instructions which I believe Mr. Song can introduce us later. Okay, so you must be able to use the VPN, and then you log into the contest platform, which we will be using DomJudge for the main contest platform, the same as last year, I think. And they must arrange their own internet connection. And it's very important thing is like we restrict everyone to use any other resources other than the contest platform using the internet. So the purpose of using the internet is to connect to the contest website. Okay. The the most important thing is the competition time, which will take place on next Saturday, so which is on June 27th, 2026, from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. So that's like 2 hour competition. And it's very important for you to connect to the Zoom. There will be a Zoom link provided by Mr. Yo here, ANTUM here, so that you have to connect to the Zoom, and you have to turn on your camera and to face yourself throughout the entire competition window. So that is very important. And then you will have to change your display name on the Zoom link to your team name and your team. I believe it's your name and both your team name to be on the Zoom. So this is very important because we need this record to ensure that we don't have anything weird happening in the contest. Okay. So there will be for the entire problem set in the preliminary round, there will be 13 problems, and each problem might have different difficulty ranges. And therefore, we have different scoring for each different problem. Okay, the problem statements will be provided to you with English as the main language programming for the main language for the problem set, and as well as we will provide you an additional translations in Mandarin and in Malay. Okay, so in any case, we will try to ensure this won't happen, but in the case where you find any discrepancies or ambiguities between the different languages or versions of the problem set, please use English version for the main like decision or the main interpretation of the problem set. Okay. Um, and furthermore, if you have any questions regarding to the competition or the problem set itself, you have to ask them through the Dom judge system. There will be a clarification system, which I believe everyone has already tested out. There are practice competitions during these days. So please ask these questions about the problem specifically to the contest website. Okay. So if we have any, it turned out to have any corrections to the problems or any questions that needs to be clarified, we will be announcing them through the contest website. So you will also be receiving those updates through the contest platform. So if you have any, like you only contact ANTUM or you contact via Zoom, only if you have like connection issues or you have VPN issues. Okay, so any problem that regards to the problem issue, you have to ask them through the website. So the next one is what can you read or what can you use during the contest? So contestants are allowed to refer to any printed books or notes they have, but are strictly prohibited from using the internet to search for any information. The use of any electronic devices with computational or communication capabilities, including but not limited to smartphones and tablets, is forbidden. Additionally, the generation of code using generative AI models are not allowed. If any such activities are discovered, the team may be disqualified. So this is very important for you to not using any outsources resources except the printed books and your personal notes that has already written before the contest begin. Okay. So this is very important and quite restrictive rules that we would like to ask everyone to follow. So during the competition, contestants are only allowed to communicate with their teammates or the competition staff. They are not permitted to communicate with anyone else in any form. So those including not in like speaking or chatting, if you message someone else, that's also forbidden. Okay. Teams can choose any platform. Teams can choose any problem to solve. There are three problems for you. You don't have to solve them in the order. You can pick whatever problem that you feel that is more comfortable to solve first. And you can submit the solutions throughout the contest platform for testing at any time during the competition. Okay. So that is very important for you to submit a source code to the contest platform. So even if you test yourself in your local computer or laptop, you still submit the source code. So not .exe file, but .cpp or .py files or .java files. Okay, so you have to submit the source code to the platform, and the platform competition system will compile the code for you. Okay, so we allow to use C, C++, Java, or Python languages. So these languages are up to date. If you are really interested in what's the particular version of the compiler we are using on the contest platform, you can refer to this particular rule document. So I believe after the meeting, Mr. Yo can help us to upload the entire file to the website. So if you want to refer the contest environment more, you can check that file after the meeting. Okay. So these are basically the compile commands that we'll be using for judging your program. So after you submit your file, your source file to the contest platform, the judge will tell you whether your submission is correct or incorrect. Okay, so there could be several different response from the platform. So if your code is correct, you pass all the tests, the system will tell you that, oh, your code is correct. So this problem is considered as correct. But unfortunately, if the system tell you something that is incorrect, there might be several different reasons that causes your program to be failed. Okay, so in particular, you might be able to see uh, different responses where we encourage you to test in the practice contest. Okay, so basically you will see, for example, you will see wrong answer. That probably means that your program is terminated normally, but the output for the corresponding some test cases are not correct. Okay. Um, there might be a chance where your program runs too long, that exceeds the time limit of our setting. So your program will be cut off will be terminated immediately once it hits the wartime limit. So it will tell you that, oh, your program runs too long and it gives you like time limit. Um, okay, and then you will have like sometimes in occasionally your program has some exceptions where you did not handle that causes the program to crash. So in that case, you will see a run error. And run error could be like lots of different reasons that causes run error. One of the most common cause is that your memory usage of the program exceeds our limit. So if that's the case, it will also be marked as run error. On the other hand, if your program try to output a lot of stuff that exceeds the limit of the output file size, in that case, the judge will also terminate your program and tell you that, oh, your program reached the output limit. So you'll see the output limit that indicates that you might be printed out too many things. Finally, on the other hand, if your program does not finish, but your program does not output anything, in that case, the judge will tell you that, oh, your program has no output. Okay, so those are possible feedbacks that you can read from the judge after you submit your source code. Our contest platform, because we have like hundreds of people, hundreds of teams to participate in this contest, to reduce the load of the competition system, we'll be using something we call the lazy evaluation. So what does that mean? It means we have for each different problem, there may be like 100 tests, and we just test them until your program fails on one of the tests. In that case, the judge system will not be evaluating the remaining of the test cases just for saving the resource usage. In that case, the test will just be stopped and that corresponding error message will be returned to you. So in the case where your source code fails at multiple different test cases at different reasons, only one of them will be returned to you and you will only see one of them. Okay. And That's about the submission of the code and the evaluation. Now we talk about scoring. The scoring of the competition is that for the preliminary round only, we will not deduct any of the points, or we will not consider penalties for a wrong answer. Okay, so you can submit as many times as you want. There might be some cooldown intervals that disallow you to submit too frequently, but we will not deduct any points, or we will not add any penalty scores to your incorrect submissions. And correct answers will be recorded and they will be verified. Okay, so basically all the submissions, we will verify them. In particular for the correct ones that affects your scores. Okay, so if there are no issues, the points will be added to the team's total score, and we'll be examining these codes not during the contest, but also after the contest. Okay. Right. And then each teams can attempt to solve the same problem multiple times. But even if they solve it correct more than once, it will be recorded like only once. So you will receive the points from correct answers, but only once per each problem. And we also record the earliest correct submission time for that. Okay. So basically, for whatever problems, subsets of problems that you get answered correctly, they will contribute to your team's score. So at the end of the competition, a team's score will be the total points for the correctly solved problems without duplicating points for the same problem. Okay. And most importantly, we will check them afterwards. Okay, so now we're talking about ranking. So the preliminary contest will have some ranking, and basically we rank by the scores each team get. Okay. So in case of a tie, the team with the shorter total time will be ranked higher. Okay, so basically, if we sum up all the times, I believe we use the number of minutes where you just passed this problem. The total time is calculated as sum of the times where each question is first correctly solved. Okay, so in case of a tie, the total sum that is smaller gets a higher rank. And finally, we will select roughly basically 60 teams that will be advanced to the final round. I believe the final round will be held in late August. Okay. Each school may have at most the top 3 ranked teams from the school advance. Okay, if all 3 members of a team are from the same school, the team will be considered a single school team. This restriction does not apply to cross-school teams. Okay, so we encourage students to form teams from different schools. Okay, and we also encourage junior secondary students, Form 1 to Form 3. Each school may have an additional 2 teams composed entirely of the junior secondary students advanced to the final. Okay, so that's the rules for advancing to the final round. Okay, so we will have the preliminary contest on on June 27th, which is next Saturday. And I believe 1.5 weeks after that, on July 7th, we'll be releasing the final rank scoreboard and the announcing which teams can be advanced to the final round. Okay. So last but not least, the organizers reserve the right to make changes to the above rules and the policies at any time, but we will let everyone know in time. So we will, if there are some serious issues about these rules, we'll be let everyone know, and for sure that we can make sure that it's fair enough at the end. Okay, so all decisions made by the organizers will be final. Okay, so that's basically the entire rules for the Saturday's preliminary contest. Okay, so now I believe if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us on the chat. Yeah, I guess we can pause a few minutes here, and then later on I'll introduce Mr. Song from our technical team to share how to install the VPN with us. Okay.
Thanks, Professor Huang. If you got any question, teacher or student, you may write in the chat chat room, and we will reply. We will answer. And also, this recording, this Zoom meeting will be recorded and then upload to the official website later. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There's
so
someone, yeah.
yeah, this year we there are some security issues, so we will require everyone to install the VPN usage and then to use the VPN to connect to the contest platform. So if possible, we encourage everyone to test out the VPN maybe today or later. And if you have any questions, please let us know immediately. Okay. So um okay, so I can see there are some VPN issues. Uh, there might be some firewall access. I think we have to test it out. I have, so I guess the question for you is like, I believe to access the practice contest, you need to install the VPN. So please try to use the VPN and try to log in to the current contest website. If you can see them, it should be like good. Okay, so please test it for the contest. There's some other questions saying that the computer adapter is not support VPN and it cannot repair. So I guess that's the installation issue. I guess we will have to work. So okay. So here's the plan. So we will be introducing. So
Okay.
I'll let Mr. Song to introduce the how to install VPN step by step now, and then we can discuss like these special issues later. Okay. There are some other questions. Yes, good. So. Uh, Kan Juan asked that can we print notes ourselves and use it for the competition? I believe that's allowed. So you can use any printed documents code um, to the competition. Um, that's for preliminary contest. For final round, there are quite restrictive rules that we will be announcing later. So far, I think for the preliminary contest, any printed code is fine. Any printed notes are also good. Okay, but they are very important. Like you have to print it before the contest begin. That's very important. Okay. Um, Cindy Wong Jia-in asked that how to communicate with other team members if it's a cross-school team from other states. Is opening Gmeet allowed? So I believe in this case we allow this usage scenario, even if you are from the same school, but you are in different places during the preliminary competition. But it's very important is that you have to turn on the Zoom link with the camera facing yourself, and you are only allowed to use like the um, communication with your team members. You cannot communicate with anyone else, including your instructor or teacher. Okay. Um, right. So, Joshua Yan asked that, are there time penalty? How does it work? So, the rules about scoring for the preliminary contest. So for the preliminary round, uh, we only compute the sum of the time where each question is first correctly solved. And most importantly, for any incorrect attempts, there will be no penalty for the preliminary round. Okay, so that's quite important. Like maybe you want to test out your code more than a few times, but in that case, it's okay. You don't suffer any penalty on that. Okay. Does the note needs to be printed, or can it be inside the computer like a Word file downloaded? That's a good question. We encourage you to have a printed version. Do we allow them? I guess that's a question for Mr. Yo. I think so the rules basically specifies that you are not allowed to use internet to access them, right? So
Yeah.
anything if that's already in like stored in your laptop, uh, it does not violate
Mm.
any rules listed here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be good. But in any case, in any case, that so the most important thing is like you are not allowed to use internet to search for those documents. Okay. So
Mm.
if you have to like if after the competition, the judge team challenges your team, saying like we wanted to see more evidence that you have this document already in your laptop, you have to prove that. So it is your responsibility to prove that. Okay, that's very important. So um, if it's already in your laptop, you should be fine, but we still encourage you to have a printed out version. Okay. Um, Li Zhancheng asked that, is there any restrictions on what books we can refer during the contest? The number of pages or the books, etc., etc. That's a good question. So we will have different rules about final rounds, but for preliminary rounds, we don't put any restrictions on the pages and the format of your references. So you can refer to any books or any notes that you have. So that's totally fine. Olivia O asked that, what if your camera doesn't work at all? What can we do? So please ask your teacher, right? Try to make sure that you have this functionality during the contest. It is very, very important. We require everyone to have this camera turned on during the contest. So um, in that case, please ask your teachers to help. If you still have any question, please have your teacher advisor to contact the organizer um, to specify these kind of issues. Okay. And I believe Mr. Yo can help with all these like if the teams are having like some issues, like let us know as early as possible. That is very important. Okay. So Kanjuan asks that, can we open softwares like VS Code? Yes, you can use softwares, but most importantly, there are two things. One of them is your software should not connect to internet. So you should not have your VS Code to connect to internet in any form during the contest. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is there are some rules saying that you are not allowed to you're not allowed to use any generated code from any generated AI model. So if your VS Code has some functionality installed it, you have to be very careful. Like you're not allowed to use the codes. You're not supposed to use the code generated by those automatically like generating code functions. Okay, so that's very important. Okay. Um, Jia Chong asked that, can we use our phone to Google Meet with our teammates? So unfortunately, I think this answer is no. So there's a very specific um, rule saying that we are not allowed to use cell phones, like smartphones and tablets. Yeah. So if your communication device is using or fall into these categories, please refrain from using it. Okay. If we get a question wrong, there is no time penalty. like 20 minutes for every round submissions. So that is the rule for final round. That is not the rule from the preliminary round. So for preliminary round, there is no time penalty from round submissions. Okay, so that's the rule specified here. This one. Yeah, so we will not give any penalties or score deductions from this round submissions. Okay. Tens asked like, what if my computer crash during the competition? The easiest answer is please restart your computer as fast as possible and reconnect to Zoom, reopen the camera as fast as possible, and let the organizer knows about this incident. It's very important, like to let us know if you have any incident during the competition. Okay, and I believe we will record the like the downtime of your device and to see if there's any anomaly doing that. Okay. So like technical things happens all the time. So it's not like you will be disqualified immediately after that. But it is very important for let us know about this. Okay. Chong Ming Hao asked that then how can we contact our teammate? You are still allowed to use Google Meet to on your laptop and communicate with your teammate. That's allowed. Okay. Right. Cindy Wong Jia-Ying asked that so the Gmeet has to be done using same laptop, which is for VS Code, Dumb Judge, Submission, and Zoom. That's preferred. That's preferred. Um, if you could, yeah, if you find like you cannot your laptop cannot do this, I believe you please contact the organizer to see if there's any workaround for this. But we encourage all the teams using the same each team member using the same laptop during the competition. Okay. Uh, Hao asked that can I open Zoom meeting on the device and do the questions on the other devices? Um, it is so we basically encourage everyone to use the same laptop. So I understand there might be like if your laptop, you after the test, using some test, you feel like it's not plausible. Maybe your laptop will become super hot on this. Um, I believe you can. So we believe that everyone can use the same laptop. That's the most important guideline. But if you really have this issue during the test, the practice contest, please let your teacher know and let your teacher to contact to the organizer to see if there's any like workaround on this. But in general, we will stick with the principle that you have to stick with the same laptop. That's the not necessarily laptop, maybe a desktop, right? So you have to stick on one device on during the contest. That's the most important rule.